Hi guys, it's Miss Gilreath again, and I am going to be talking to you a little bit today about line plots. You might have heard the word line plot and looked at that a little bit in third grade. But before we get started, I want us to make sure that we remember what we're talking about when we're talking about data. When you hear the word data, data is just information that has been collected. And in fourth grade, what we look at is we look about once we've collected this data, what do we do with it? What do we do with this information that we've collected? So we have collected some data here we're going to look at in just a minute on a line plot, but let's go over here and have a quick reminder of the two types of data that we talked about, categorical and numerical. So categorical data is in categories or in groups. So if I said, what is your eye color? That would go in a group of brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. That would go in a group, or it is answered with words, okay? And numerical data is where it is represented in numbers. We hear the word numeral, so numerical data is in numbers. Like how old are you or how many siblings do you have? So we want to not forget those words, categorical and numerical data. And we're going to talk about with our line plot, and we're going to see and talk about which kind or which type of data we come up with. Now, you all have talked about frequency tables and bar graphs. When we collect our data, we can show the information in a frequency table or bar graph. And today we're going to talk about how we can show our data or information on a line plot, okay? A line plot. So when we are talking about a line plot, we usually have a line down at the bottom, okay, with some information down here underneath, okay? And here it is numbers, okay? So the line plot we're going to talk about today, it says, complete the line plot to show the data in the table for puppies' weights at birth, okay? So when we come over here and look at this data, this is where we put our information that we collected. This is the weight of the puppies, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 13 in pounds when they were born, okay? And this column here tells us the number of puppies. The number of puppies that weighed 3 pounds, the number of puppies that weighed 4 pounds, the number of puppies that weighed 2 pounds, the number of puppies that weighed 6 pounds, the number of puppies that weighed 7 pounds, and the number of puppies that weighed 13 pounds. So we've looked at these puppies and collected their weight, their information, and it is in this table here. But now we need to put that information over here on a line plot. So how do we know what we put at the bottom? How do we determine that? So we've written down here weights of puppies in pounds, okay? Now, when we look at our weight, we know that it starts at 3 and it ends at 13, okay? So when we come down here to start our line plot information, we're going to start with the number 3 and end with the number 13. So you say, why didn't we start with 1 and end with 15? You could, but we're just looking specifically at the information that we collected here, the data that we have. So the first number in our data is 3, and the last number is 13. And we've got all the numbers in between, okay? So we're going to transfer our information over to our line plot. So we know that the bottom numbers represent our weight of the puppies in pounds. So when we look down here, we have to remember that this is the weight, okay? Now, when we are doing a line plot, we are looking next to put the number of puppies that weighed each weight here in our chart, okay? Now, how are we gonna do that? So when we have a line plot, we have to determine, we use X's, okay? And I always tell my class, before we get started, we have to answer the question, what is X? When we are going to put X's up on our line plot, what are the X's representing? What do the X's stand for? So if down here we've got the weight of our puppies, okay, what is the X going to stand for? The X is going to stand for the number of puppies. So X is going to be the number of puppies. So when I have an X, okay, I know that that's going to tell me the number of puppies. All right, so let's look at our information here. Let's go down to our weight of 3, okay? And how many puppies weighed 3 pounds? We look here, it's 5. So how many X's are we going to put above our weight? Remember, our weights are down here, and we're going to graph. We're talking about plotting the number of puppies, okay? So let's look over here at 3. We're going to check off that we're going to do 3, and we're going to put 5 X's because 5 puppies weighed 3 pounds. 5 puppies weighed 3 pounds. So I have 5 X's on top of my 3 pounds, okay? Let's do our next one. So we're going to our next weight. Remember, weight of puppies, we're looking on our chart here, is 4. So we're going to make sure we do 4. And how many puppies, how many X's, how many puppies weighed 4 pounds when they were born? Now, I'm going to put 3. Now, so 3 puppies weighed 4 pounds. Now, what you need to make sure that you pay close attention to is that your X's are the same size. If I have X's that are really, really big on top of 3 pounds and X's that are really, really small, it's going to be hard to figure out our answers when we look at some questions, okay? So make sure that you are writing the X's as close to the same size as you can. So let's go ahead and finish our chart. And remember, we're checking off to make sure that we do each one correctly. All right, so let's go to our 5 pounds, and we're going to put 2 puppies, making those X's the same size. So we're just plotting our information, okay? We went to our weight. We know that number of puppies, X is a puppy, so there were 2 puppies that weighed 5 pounds, okay? Our next number is 6, but we do not have any puppies that weighed 6 pounds. So we're not going to put any X's on 6. But we are going to check it off of our chart here to know that we've done that one. All right, so our next weight is 7, okay? So we're going to check off 7. And how many puppies weighed 7 pounds? We're going to put that X right there because it's just 1, okay? Now, we don't have any other weight until we get to 13. So we're just going to skip these because there's no puppies weighed 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 pounds. So our next job is to go all the way down to our 13, to our weight, 13 pounds. And how many puppies weighed 13 pounds? Just 1. So we're going to put our X, remember, keeping it the same size, right there. So what did we just do? We just took our data or information, okay? We made sure that we put our weight of puppies. We knew what our bottom line represented on our line plot. We looked at our chart here and we knew that 1X stood for a puppy. And then we transferred our information to our line plot, okay? Now, remember, X's are the same size and we check off our information as we go, okay? Now, we're going to look at some questions that we might be asked about our line plot, okay? We're going to look at some questions that we might be asked. If we've made our line plot, what information can we answer or questions can we answer with the information we've put here? Let's look at this. What weight has the greatest number of puppies? Now, when you're looking at this, it's important that you're looking at weight, that we look at what they're asking. That's where you fall in the trap with line plots if you're not looking really closely at what they're asking. Okay, I just moved that a little bit closer, so hopefully you can see a little bit. Okay, so what weight has the greatest number of puppies? So we are looking at our weights, and which one has the greatest number of puppies, which would be the most X's? Okay, so what weight has the greatest number of puppies? So we're looking for the most X's, and that would be 3 pounds. 3 pounds would be the greatest. What weight has the greatest number of puppies? Because that has the most X's, and we know that X is puppies. Let's look at one more question. What is the total number of puppies that they surveyed? What is the total number of puppies that they surveyed? So like we know we're asked about puppies, so we're going to look at X's. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there were 12 puppies that they looked at. Now, how can we check that again? If we just have a line plot, then we count the X's. But if we have some information here, we could also count our number of puppies here and make sure that it matches our line plots. You might not always have this information. You might just have a line plot by itself. So we're going to count the X's, okay? Let's look at one last question. Which weight has the least number of puppies? Okay, now remember we're asked about weight. Okay, so make sure we're looking at weight. Has the least number of puppies. So I see that 7 and 13, okay, 7 and 13 have the least number of puppies because they both have 1. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at 7 and 13. Remember, we're looking at the weight. That's the important part, 7 and 13. Okay, now why do we not look at 6, 8, 10, and 12? Because we don't have any information for those. We don't have any information. We don't have any X's on top. So we don't look at those, okay? Now, one other word or question you might hear with a line plot is difference. Or we talked about largest number and smallest number, but difference. So if we were asked the question, what is the difference, okay, in the largest number of puppies and the smallest number of puppies? Okay, so we have 5 puppies here, okay, and 1 puppy here. So what would the difference be? How do we find the difference? We take 5 minus 1 is our smallest, and we subtract, so our answer would be 4. What is the difference between the largest number of puppies and smallest number of puppies? Largest is 5, smallest is 1, so our difference would be 4. Okay? So let's go over one more time how we created a line plot. We took our data or information. We made sure we figured out what was X, what was our X going to stand for. We made sure that we knew what the numbers at the bottom represented. With this, it was weight, okay? And then we made sure that when we were asked questions, we made sure to check, are they looking for puppies or looking for weight? That's the part that can get the most confusing when you're doing line plots, is answering the question, what are they looking for? Okay, because sometimes you get confused and you put the numbers instead of the X's, or look at the X's instead of the numbers. Okay, so I hope this helped you to understand what is a line plot and how to interpret data and add data onto your line plot. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon.